We were just sitting here talking about, Jason, my buddy here, was asking me, what do you do first thing in the morning when you pick up a guitar, or, you know, what gets your juices flowing and stuff? And I actually never really thought about that, but what I realized is that I absolutely love open chords, and the reason being, whether it's in the morning or when I'm just warming up, or just in general, if I pick up a new guitar, I'll probably start out with something like a G chord, because I just like the sound and the feel of open chords, you know, first position chords especially. And I love G because, you know, you can, I think George Harrison called it the magic G chord, but you know, you got so many open strings in a G. Look at, you got all these, you know, the D, the G, and the B string are all open. You could even add that E string if you want. Now you got like a G major 7th. But for instance, I'll show you what I do as kind of a warm-up in the morning when I'm, you know, just sitting around having my coffee. I'll just kind of do like a... You'll notice I got a ton of open strings going on here, right? In fact, right now, you and I are writing a song together because I don't know where I'm going. And I really like that feeling of not knowing where I'm going, you know, just, I like to wander aimlessly through the chords and see if something strikes my fancy. So I'm basically hanging out on a G here. Maybe I'll go to a C. Back to a G. Now you'll notice I'm working my pinky here. So what I'm doing is I'm basically doing a series of hammer-ons. Working off with the D string and the G string, and I'm just doing a 2nd fret hammer-on. You can get a lot of mileage out of that. Just hanging out on the G. And same thing on the A string. So now I'm gonna work off of the G chord, and I'm gonna do the A, the D, and the G string, and I'm gonna do a bunch of hammer-ons. We'll see what happens. You'll notice I have not left the key of G at all. I'm still on that G string. Now I'm finally going to go to the 4th chord, which is the C. I'm going to walk up to it. I'm still working that D and that G string because I like the way that sounds. Let those strings ring out. And now I'm feeling like, you know what? We've done enough 1 4 1 4 1 4. Let's give it to the 5 chord. And in this case, I'm going to hit a D with an F sharp in the bass. I like the voicing of that. I still have a fair amount of open strings. Got the open E, open D, open, well, let's close G. I got an open A, and that F sharp down below, I think is a cool voicing. So now I'm going to take all 3 of those chords and I'm going to play the changes to a song I wrote called Make My Way. It's on my, I think my 2nd album, yeah, Next Rain. And I came across these 3 chords together. I was sitting in a hotel room in France on tour, and I was actually missing home at the time. And these changes kind of made me feel a little bit of the melancholy of traveling and being lonely on the road and coming up with something. And it goes like this. So you'll notice I'm going from a G to a C to a D. But not just any D, it's a D with an F sharp. See that F sharp there? Second finger, second fret of the low E string. And I really like the voicing here because it almost sounds like a piano to me. And that's almost the whole song in itself. G, C, D with an F sharp. Love the sound of those open chords, and if you do it with a pick, it sounds even sounds cool too, like a. So that's an example of if I wake up in the morning, I grab either this guitar, which is kind of my go-to, this little Martin, or I'll grab my, I have an old 1920s, it looks like a Larson-style guitar if you're familiar with those. And I got to bring that in for one of these little sessions. It's a beautiful guitar. It's a parlor style guitar. It's a little bit smaller, but it rings out like you can't believe. It's got a great voice to it. But what I was going to say too, and what I noticed is I've got a few guitars around the house, probably more than a few actually, and Jason does too. And he'll tell you this, that each guitar tends to have its own voice for one thing, but I play differently on different guitars. If I'm playing a Strat with an old 50s V-neck, like a Clapton Strat like mine, I'll play that different than a Paul Reed Smith or a hollow body 335 type guitar. It seems like they bring different things out in my playing completely, which speaks well to having more than one. I use all my guitars. All the guitars I have in my collection now I use a lot. I did a session last week, a studio session. I was fortunate to get out and work a little bit, and I used I think 4 or 5 different guitars on that, and it was just so much fun. But I'll take it out with a couple of chord changes that I'm just going to make it up as I get along here, and you can see what open strings sound like. We'll see you down the road.